Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. Let's just look at Bitcoin and ETH for today. I mean, BTC is going through a moment of high volatility. And we saw a big market dump yesterday. So what does that mean? High time frame, we're still good. I mean, I'll look at the high time frame charts in a second. I just wanted to briefly highlight this is the 4-hour EMA on the for the 200 EMA on the 4-hour. It's the red line that you see here. As you can see, all throughout this trend, really for the first time since late September, early October, this 4-hour trend has mostly been a good SR level. As you can see, it briefly traded underneath in late January, again in late February, and again in late March. And we're seeing right now that this flipped in April and it became resistance, as EMAs are generally good SR levels, and they're good indicators for overall market momentum. And after price flipped up higher bullish, price bounced off it a few times in May and now broke cleanly below, similar to what we saw in late April. So what does this mean? I mean, when you see some bearish EMA crosses, this is when it's starting to get pretty bearish in general. Does that mean that this trend is over and that price is going to go to like 30K? I mean, I think that's a little bit early. There's still some areas of support before then. But in terms of looking at indicators such as EMAs, you can start to see many of these are starting to cross bearish, where the faster EMAs are crossing below the lagging ones. And the opposite's obviously true as well, where you want to see the faster ones bullishly crossing above the lagging ones. But in this case, what we're seeing is bearish moves overall on lower time frame charts. And I don't think there's any way you can cut that. As I said before, this overall market activity does not strike me as super bullish with the way that price is ranging. I mean, a best case scenario would be that price just kind of hangs out in these areas from 65K to 40K. Don't know if it possibly will go there. I mean, there's been many charts, and I think Cold-Blooded Schiller really gave me some food for thought that this 36K, 38K area very well could be tapped. Certainly possible, of course. This is kind of like the last weekly bullish support level that we had before price kind of hit this ranging price action pattern. High time frame though, this is still a bullish chart. You can't deny otherwise, but I did say that this current price action was not, it didn't really remind me of some of the bullish accumulation patterns we saw in May or the end of 2019 or the end of 2018, early 2019, where you saw very little volatility. This is kind of a lot of volatility, some highish sell volume coming in. And I'm still bullish for now. I mean, still bullish until shown otherwise, but it's starting to print some scary signs on some of the lower time frame charts. I mean, there's like lots of high sell volume coming in. You can see it here. You can see it, just lots of sell volume. And the market structure also might have just gotten broken as well. We saw higher highs formed across the board in February, March, and April. You can see higher high. But what we saw here is a potential low formed here, a potential lower low formed here, and now we just potentially saw a lower high. This would basically mean, and this was obviously, this low also got broken. So to me, it seems that the 1-day trend looks bearish to me. Still holding hope that these lows around 43K can hold, but I'm not really keeping super long price targets for my altcoins in terms of the scalp trades that I'm taking right now. I still believe that altcoins are going to move, but Bitcoin has to find a bottom first. I don't know where that bottom is going to be. It could be 40,000. It could be 45,000-ish area. I mean, there is still going to be support around here. That price just tapped. So it's quite possible that price kind of ranges and still kind of just chops around this area. But the bottom line is that generally speaking, when you need a range to be formed, you need some big price action to precede it, either to the upside or to the downside. And what we are seeing right now is this big move from 65K, potential lower high formed, and now another leg down. This is certainly all that could come. And there also could be another leg down to 38K. That's certainly possible as well. As I said, there's like this kind of bullish area, this bullish demand area from 30K to 40K. There's probably going to be a lot of trading activity there, as you can see by volume profile. This would be like my next area up. Now, again, there are some areas of support. And I do think that price will hang out here around 45,000 to kind of like this 53K area. This is like an area that price will chop around with. And there are still areas, price still has to fill out this inefficient move a little bit. But I was definitely wrong with thinking that price was going to go to like 63K. I did always think that price was going to go to 60K, but I thought it was going to break a little higher around 62 before potentially heading lower. I thought we were going to see something more like this, where price goes up and then breaks down potentially. I was definitely wrong on that, but price really just decided to kind of hit this bearish retest and go lower. It doesn't look great, as I said, on the 4-hour and 1-day. I mean, as I said, potential market structure break where we're seeing lower lows and lower highs. Again, do I think this is going to go to like 30,000? I mean, never say never. Don't personally think that it will go all the way down there, but if it does, I would personally be a buyer. Because I'm going to be a buyer because I still feel that this kind of area will hold up. And it's still a bullish market structure on the 1 week. Again, referencing the cold-blooded Schiller thread, this was also pretty interesting where he observed some kind of bullish areas in the 2017 run. And again, it's a different market structure. Everything is different, but price still had these violent retraces and it was still able to continue higher. And this was on the weekly time frame. You saw this kind of these blocks of fairly bearish closes, like all the way in May and June of 2017. Like these aren't really bullish closes on the weekly. And similar speaking to September kind of 4th, September 5th, kind of around that area. These aren't really bullish closes either. Price pulled down, hit this level of support, and then kind of went up again. And what we're seeing right now is we could see a potential wick down to like the 38K is certainly possible. This area should be pretty good support if price gets to that point, in my opinion. So where am I looking at? I mean, again, high time frame charts, it's still a bullish chart, but 38Ks could be coming. For now, I still feel that the 45Ks are support, but be careful because this area has been tapped once already with a pretty good reaction. But it's also important to understand that the order is close by and the order is somewhat close to this area, around like 50K. This area was already tapped several times and the demand just basically broke down in that 50K region, and price went to the next area of liquidity, which was around 40, like the low mid 40s. And if this area breaks, then I think that it will be a fairly quick blitz down to like the mid 30s, in my opinion. But again, generally speaking, we still have some support levels. Price could still continue higher. It could look something like January of 2021, where price nailed this 30K area several times before going up. But the overall market structure is still very different than what we saw in January. What we're seeing here is potential distribution. I mean, I don't think there's any way you can cut it or argue otherwise. I mean, as I said, potential. I'm not saying this is bearish. I'm not saying we're going to go to like 20K or even 30K at this point. It's certainly possible. Never say never. But let's just see. I mean, there's still more areas at 45K that should be support for now, in low 40s, like 43K. So I do expect there to be other orders, but if you start to see price action kind of like this, where you see like it nail it again and kind of like a lower bounce, then I would feel a lot worse about this type of price action than when I felt it back in January of 2021, where you saw price nailing this 30K region like several times, but price kept going higher. This is a different market structure than that, is what I'm trying to say. But for now, I would just basically bid. It depends on your trade, of course. I mean, if you want to do a scalp, like 43K should have like more support again, or 45, but there will be a lot of liquidity around 38Ks and like the low 40s. This would be an area to target if you want to just have some bids. Let's briefly look at ETHUSD. I think that ETHUSD has a better looking chart than Bitcoin. What we're seeing right now is ETHUSD tagging this area of support, kind of like this block that we saw back in early May, around 3,500, and that's still okay. I mean, this is still like undeniably a high time frame bullish chart. You can't really argue otherwise, in my opinion. Still higher highs, still higher lows all the way across the board. We are seeing high sell volume, which is a little bit concerning, but price is still holding up fairly well. I would not mind seeing price spend some time to form a solid bottom. And what do I mean by solid bottom? I basically mean where price hangs out in a certain area and consolidates for a little bit, because those types of bottoms and those consolidation areas really give the remaining moves more sustainability. And it's not necessarily bad when you see price, quickly dip down and then continue up, but on those moves up, you want to see price hit consolidation areas, either in a ranging price action type of situation like this, or you want to see price do something like forming like a bottom, like where it just chops around for a bit and then continues higher. So this is an example of like this latter one where it's just kind of chopping around and forming the bottom. Again, this is another example of the second one where you see kind of this double bottom type of price action. And again, price is fractal, so you see these types of patterns on all types of time frames, and price continued higher. This right here was kind of an accumulation pattern, and if you zoom out too, you also saw that price kind of hit this accumulation pattern right here as well, where price just kind of ranged around for quite some time in all throughout January. So you want to see price do these types of price, these kind of consolidation price action, because it makes further moves more sustainable. So what I'd like to see for ETH is, it hit this expansion after 2,500. It went all the way up to 4,500-ish almost. And I would like to see it kind of hang around and chop around for a little bit and then make another push up to the 5Ks. That would be pretty bullish to me. There's some high sell volume coming in right now, but I'm still bullish overall on ETH in general, and I do hope that Bitcoin plays nice. If Bitcoin shits the bed, then I fully believe that ETH will follow. I mean, even though ETH leads the market at some points, if ETH shits the bed, then I wouldn't be surprised to see it hit like 2,500. But still bullish on ETH until shown otherwise. So thank you for watching my video, and good luck.